Surprise! It's bonus episode time. Hey everybody, how's it going? So I bet you didn't expect to see me this week. Well, thanks to your suggestions, we need to finish the city before the tour. Because there is so much to do, it needs an episode of its own, right? So a mini episode in a mini series? What kind of inception is this? Let's just get on with it, shall we? So, yes, you guys were pretty clear that the city needed finishing, and I mean, this isn't Disneyland where I just get to finish the park and be done with it, right? This is a classy place, but there is loads that need doing, and I didn't want to drag it out into a full episode, which literally nobody would watch. So here we are with a slightly shorter episode. I'm going to basically show you what I'm going to do, cut to it being done, and then call it a day. Sound good? Excellent. Okay, so we're going to start here at the end of the pier. This is looking so good. I've never actually looked back at the shore before. Just look how awesome this is. Like, it's come to life. It's a pier. It's how it should be. I've done some work on the city already, by the way, so let's go and take a look. You will have seen all the buildings before. I have pulled them in from Fundy Fun Spot. I am not building anything new. As such, I'm recycling as much as I possibly can. So some of the community submissions, you will see your submissions on here. So thank you for your submissions back in the day. I'm going to use them again. So this is probably the most put together part of the city. This is where I started, and I wanted the eye in here. Now, the reason I wanted the eye here was for this view. I wanted to be able to see the pier through the eye, right? So I've always had this sight line in mind, and it kind of makes sense. So anyway, I've done this bit and I've put a playground in here. So I just need to do touching up and foliage and terrain work and stuff in here. But this is like the first part of the newest bit. Then we've got a road junction here and we've got a couple of buildings. So we've got a supermarket and we've got what would probably be a gift shop. It needs touching up and it needs detailing out. Well, obviously the buildings themselves are detailed, but it just needs like the exteriors doing. Then this is new, so I've just put in a town square style thing. I wanted this to be a bit more of a memorial kind of thing. You find this quite often in UK landscapes, so I just wanted to have this as a bit of a town square bit. It feels like, quite right that it would sit between these two shops and stuff, so that's what we're doing here. And then we've just got all of the buildings and stuff on here. Nothing really has changed since episode 1 here, actually. Just needs touching up and bringing together. This bit has changed slightly. I did say in the first episode I didn't know what the strategy would be to get down into these beaches. Well, I've now changed that and rectified that. Touching up here is needed, obviously, because there's some rough edges and stuff, so that all needs doing. And then over this way, I've come up with an idea of how I'm going to make this area work. So if you remember back to episode 1, I didn't know how this bit would actually work and how I was going to get it to make sense. I've thought it through, and I've got it to make sense. So this is going to work. And then I'm going to put beach and whatever clutter down here, so it's not just going to be an open beach. So let's talk about this bit. This is where the biggest piece of the work has happened. Brighton has the i360. It's basically a massive mega tower that looks out to France and inland to the UK. So I think you can see France from it. I'm not sure. I've never been on it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Anyway, it looks out to sea regardless, so it's fine. It's done. So I've definitely wanted to put one of these in. I can't replicate it exactly as it is. So in real life, this goes right down to the ground and you have these glass open footings and stuff, but there's also a terrace and everything, so I'm having to take a few creative liberties with this. What I've decided to do is actually have this as an enclosed off area where I can hide toilets and staff rooms and stuff, because there are a few facilities and whatever that are needed in this area, but of course there's a restaurant and there's a gift shop, so that's all going to be kitted out and detailed. It's going to be glass fronted. I don't know whether it's going to be square or whether it's going to be rounded. I haven't quite decided yet. But this is ultimately what I'm going for. Like I say, the real life counterpart, this goes right down into the middle and you can see into all of the inner workings, but because of this pad and because of the way that the terrain works along the seafront here, I can't actually achieve that. So I am happy to trade this off and take some creative liberties. Now this bit here is all a social space. So it would be plazas and it would be a lovely area to be. There would be lots of open space, lots of benches, lots of activities like the basketball court. I have dragged this from the workshop. I haven't done this myself. I'll show it to you when it's all detailed and everything. But yeah, this would be like plaza areas and big open spaces. And there would also be like an area for fishing boats. So again, fishing boat I've dragged from the workshop. And then you would have something along this side actually selling the fish that are caught. So this all needs kitting out. This all needs detailing. Just put some food units along here because guests are going to be using this bit, and they will also be walking past because you have a spawn point just here. So I did want to make use of this space. I didn't want them to walk forever, right? So this is going to get kitted out, and like I say, I'm going to put loads of beach clutter and whatever along here to make it look like it's actually alive. And then over this side, we've just got some final buildings that need doing. So I need to shore up these houses. I need to shore up this block of flats, and I need to shore up how Spike's apartments look along here as well, along the road front. So that's pretty much what I'm planning. This is the seafront from this side. Looks all right, right? So how does it look when it's done? Here we go. Are you ready? Go. Alright then, you guys, I've learned some things over the last 3 days. Firstly, this should probably have been a full episode. Secondly, cityscapes are a lot of fun to do. Plaza decorations make an area look amazing. Hydro's mulch is versatile enough to be soil, sand, and rubber matting. The star of the show is meant to be the pier. I've had to rein myself in massively. Fisherman is the hydro of blueprints, because these waves you see on screen are so awesome, and triggering lights in a sequence is totally worth the effort, and you're about to see all of that in practice. And this is where we're going to start here, our little fishing village, our little fishing hub. Firstly, let's just point out these waves. They are on a trigger, they're available as a blueprint, and I've spotted them many months ago, but never had a reason to do it. I've had these in like my kit bag. Yes, they do drain your resources a little bit, but my god, it makes this scene an actual beach. So Fisherman, I know you watch, thank you for these, as well as thank you for your games. Like, wow, just wow, it comes to life. So this is the little fishing area. I've just tidied it up, so when I put these in originally, they were all level and stuff. They weren't actually on the beach. So it's fine, I've fixed that, and I've just put some clutter and whatever around, you know, surfboards and fishing boats and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I've made the plaza area here make sense. So this was Moomin's shop. This is supposed to be like the fish shop almost, you know, where people would go and eat all the fish that have been caught by the fishermen and that sort of stuff. The plaza area looks amazing. This was totally worth the effort. So I've used my usual technique, right? So I've put down a path cover, and that's in the Victorian brick style. I've used the firehouse windowsill just to line off a curb, and then I've used Hydro's mulch as sand. So I don't know if you can see that here, Hydro's mulch as sand, just to hide the stuff that's underneath it, and then raise the land along here so that we can easily clip these Victorian bricks and whatever into outside of the lines. You can kind of see that here, right? So I've intentionally left that here as demonstration purposes, by the way. I genuinely have. So you can see sort of what I'm doing. Yeah, so then you raise the land and then you just fence it off, and it makes it look authentic, right? So this is exactly how this bit of Brighton looks. There's no vegetation, there's no clutter, there's no nothing. It's just boat, and it's fenced off. It's not meant to be secure. There's not supposed to be security fences or gates or anything like that. It's just fenced off because it's a bit of a drop here, so you just don't want people going on here. And in Brighton, remember, it's not a sand beach, it's a pebble beach. So that's kind of what you're doing here. But where you've got the nice level down into the sea, then this works here, and you just remove the fence. You don't need to fence this bit off, and you know, you're done with it and stuff. So the plaza area itself, I wanted to have a feature in the middle, and of course it is the Nerdchacho colours. So it's the pink, the blue, and the yellow that you normally find, and also the white. I've mixed up the brick types so that you've got different textures, and I've just used the the wall topping that you find in game, just to line it off with some lines. So it kind of looks like a flag. It would be like the Nerdchacho flag if there was one. This is what it would look like. But we've also got some seating around the outside. I have hidden, you obviously can't see it because I've removed all of the guests, or most of the guests from this park map, but I have got seats underneath here, so guests will come along and sit along these and make it look authentic. And then I've just put some picnic benches along this side here, just to kit this out and make it awesome. This I have taken from the workshop. It's like a boat ride that's been made out of the fountain. This is awesome. If I remember, I'll put a link to that in the description, along with the boats and along with the waves as well. This is just a stall that I've thrown together. It's not supposed to be very good. It's like a pop-up shack almost for charcoals and stuff like that. So that's cool. And then we come over this way, and this is where the build comes to life. So I've called it the Shorehaven Fly. I did have, and I spelt it with an I because it's bougie. So Brighton. I did originally call it Soar Haven, as in like soaring to the sky, because look, there you go, there it is. But yeah, I've actually gone all out and actually called it Shorehaven Fly. It looks very similar to the British Airways i360. It's a very similar design on the outside, but look at these neons cycling through colours. Oh, it just looks so good. Yes. So a lot of you have actually asked me how this gets done. And I did want to do a, oh, hang on, there we go. I did want to do a tutorial on it so I could show you, but actually it feels more appropriate to show you how I do it here, right? So what I've done is, and this works, by the way, on lights and anything that you can change the color on the object. So there are plenty of things on the console that you can do this on, as well as Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff. So the first thing you're going to need to do is place down your lights, and then you have your trigger here, your event trigger. You go into Trigger Sequencer. And the first thing you want to do on this one is to set everything to restore color on trigger. That basically makes everything work upon the cycle. Otherwise, it doesn't cycle properly. So restoring the color, that takes it back to the base color that the whole thing was. And then you just do different display groups, which will represent the different colors that you want it to cycle through. So you come in here. And you pull this one down and you change color on trigger. You change the color to what you want it to be. And if you want it to fade in and out of colors, then you just click on fade to color. And then you're away. You can fade it over a period of time. So over on the Bombora sign, that's 1 second, and this is 3 seconds. So it's a bit more of a gradual, peaceful fade. And then all you do is you duplicate the section, and it gives you a new section, and then you come into this one and then just change the color again, and then change the color again, and change the color again, and you just keep repeating that cycle until you've got a full cycle. Now it's out of sync because the game doesn't like us moving stuff, but it's fine. It'll resync up once you go back into the save file. So just because it's out of sync now, it's not gonna be that way forever. So that's how you do that. What I've had to do with this one though is rather than doing it one by one, which is going to take a lot of time, you do one, you save it as a blueprint, and then you keep re-importing your blueprint, and it will re-import all of the display sequence and stuff. Copying, pasting it does not work. It doesn't copy the triggers to the pasted items. It will copy the triggers to the item you copied from. So don't do that. I learned the hard way. So yeah, that's how you do that. Anyway, talking in here. So this is just a restaurant. I did want to do like a full interior, and I thought, you know what, I'm just getting carried away. It's just too much. So I just kept it nice and simple in here. This is the ticket office for this area. Again, remember, it's got to be bougie. It's got to be modern. It's got to be clean. It's got to be slick. So this is why this is very almost empty and barren and bare. What I have done is just done a little bit of design work on the actual desks here. Bit of neon work. This guy walking through, you're ruining the illusion, pal. Do you want to just like go away? Just like ruin it completely. So I've just done some design work down here just to keep it just to keep it nice and clean and nice and cool. And then inside here, this is just a gift shop, right? You've seen how I do gift shops. This is no different. This is everything that you've seen before. Again, I've just made it a bit bougie and a bit beachy. This wouldn't be tacky. This wouldn't be like a theme park gift shop. This would actually be quite a classy place to be. I'm kind of hoping that I can find some videos to put on here ahead of the tour next week. I am still working on that. But this is ultimately the entrance to the ride then, and the actual eye itself. And if I can get the camera right, there we go. It comes out to the top here. So this is very similar to the Brighton eye. It's just like it comes out into a box, and the box can have a door, and that's how you keep the building watertight. But ultimately, it's open. It's open air. You'd get wet in the queue, it's fine. And this bit here would have two queues. So you'd have this one as like a short one, and then this one would be an overflow queue, and then you would load from two sides, and it's a bit more of an efficient loading strategy that way. So that's what I've done here, is I've just put some tape up along this way. But to stop the public from getting in, this is like metal and glass fronted. So you can see it's like a box. It would be an absolute nightmare in the summer, but it protects it from the wind. It protects it from waves. It protects it from all sorts. So that's kind of like how I've gotten around this idea that this whole pad should be at ground level rather than top level. So I think this is a relatively decent trade-off, and the area at the top here would just be a seating area that covers that covers the restaurant and stuff. So I did want to point out this pattern here. This came completely accidentally. I was just messing around with the hydro stone cladding, and I put it into like a wave. And I was like, oh, what would it look like if it was like a fan? And I put it into a fan, and it turned out it was the perfect width of these stairs. And I was like, oh my god, that makes absolute perfect sense. So what I've done then is I've hidden the rest underneath the brick, and I've just lined it off so that I can cross the brick in, and it looks amazing. And then now it's symmetrical either side. It just looks perfect. It looks like a modern plaza area. And then you've just got the spiral along here, just to make it make sense and give it a bit of class to the area. And if I change it to night time, guys, I'm so excited to show you this build. Like, I think this is my favourite bit of the actual whole thing. I haven't put lights and stuff inside yet. I need to do that. But this in Brighton is the real thing as well. So you'd have like ground level lights that are the colour of the painted concrete, and then the Shorehaven fly with the yellow sign cycling through the colours. It just looks so amazing. I did try and do some more work on the lighting of the plaza area, but actually in reality the street lights would light this area quite nicely with ambient lighting. So I kind of just left it at that. I didn't want to do too much, and I could put the usual trick of putting the grid of lights underneath, but then it starts to freak out my graphics card. It doesn't like that very much, so I'm just going to keep it as it is. It's fine. It's done. Coming up to the street then, lots and lots and lots of touching up on here. So traffic lights have been put in. I've corrected the traffic lights. I've put more road markings down. I've done all of the usual stuff. It's still not technically correct to UK specification. There are some things that I've not done correct on here. I'm fully aware of that, but I'm going for plausible reality with this one. Like I say, star of the show should be the pier, right? So I'm just making this look plausibly realistic. Remembering, by the way, that he says, as he's about to tell you something that's ridiculously realistic in the game, remember that your tactile thing, or your tiles here have to be pointed to where the push button is for your crossing, right? So the blind people can actually find their way to the push button. So just remember that. But I just put in all of the... I did warn you, it's proper nerdy. And I just put some more road markings and stuff in here, touched up the area around here. And this is how it's looking from the top right. So this is the plaza area, the fishing area. I love how this has turned out. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So let me just carry on down the street. And again, I have just done lots of touching up with road markings and road signs and that sort of stuff. Like the traffic lights ones, they now have traffic light signs ahead of them. And I've just tidied it up quite a lot. The pathing is now all tidy. There's no gaps. There's no unsightly stuff. Added in all of the usual stuff, like phone boxes and all the usual city stuff. In fact, by now you're probably bored and you've skipped to the end of the video or something, or left the video completely, in which case, bye. Over here, again, exactly the same principle. I just tidied this up. I've actually copied the building twice, so it didn't quite come to an end. And of course, I can't do anything with the back here. It is what it is, right? But yeah, just tidy this up. This is the memorial kind of style. I wanted this to be an open area, a bit more of a tiled open area, and inside here you'd have like a grass bit where you could just come in and sit down with the garden. So all I've done here is I've just put a load of random flowers down. They do make sense. They are native to Britain and they are native colours and everything that you would find. But it's probably going to be better kept than this. This is a bit overgrown, but you would have this grassy middle, and it would be a nice little area to sit, inside the flower beds and stuff. Coming along this way then, I've tidied this up. I had to stop myself from over-kitting out this, like you would have all sorts of signs and adverts and trolleys or shopping carts, all that sort of stuff outside the front. I've just had to rein myself in and go, no, don't go too far. The building is fine as it is. It looks good as it is. It sits correctly on the landscape, and you are done. Just move on. I've just put spikes, beach huts along the front here. You don't find these in Brighton, but I just thought this space needed something in here. And then the last bit to show you, that was quite a cool angle that through the wheel. It's even cooler if you don't point it out. And just this bit, this was the first thing I did, and I was like, do you know what? This city is gonna look amazing. This is gonna look good. Hydro, once again, happy days. It is rubber matting. So I put this down accidentally. Originally I just coloured it yellow, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be sand. And it's going to look amazing. And I coloured it yellow, and I was like, actually, what would different colours look like? And when I started to put it down, it became the rubber matting that playgrounds are made of, right? So I was like, this is genius. This is perfect. So I put down all of the different colours, and I thought, okay, what's the colour that's going to accentuate and accent all of this perfectly? And I thought, well, Chacho Pink, obviously. So I'm going to line it off in blue, put the pink rubber matting down. I've discoloured the yellow slightly because it would be slightly grubby, so it's not such a vibrant yellow, and it turned out amazingly, right? So it looks like this park has been recently done up. Like the paint work on the on the fencing and stuff around here is good. So I've just decided to do that with it, and it looks amazing. It's missing stuff like signs, it would have a name, it would be something like the Shorehaven Playground or whatever, but it's fine, it's done, it is what it is. I'm okay with it. And then just to fill in this space at the back here, I've brought in Glen Pig's ice cream vendor, and then just put a couple of the beach huts that I didn't use on the seafront just along here. And then it also makes this building make a little bit more sense as well, because this sort of hugs the contours of this building, so it makes this much better. And then over here, nothing really has changed. I just put in another Pedro's just to fill out the cityscape a little bit more. And so this is now how it looks from this side. And if we go back to the pier itself, as it's still struggling, this is now how the cityscape looks. It's all done, dusted, and finished. I've still got some touching up I need to do on the pier ahead of the tour, so that's going to come later on. That's fine. But guys, I just want to go back here. I am so chuffed with how this turned out. This bit here is my favourite bit of all of it. I think it's just exactly as I wanted this seafront to look. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Right, guys, thank you for getting to the end of this bonus episode. I know that not a lot of you are actually going to watch the episode, and I know a lot of you aren't going to get this far, but do you know what? If you do, can we play a game? The comment you need for this one is, "This is the best episode no one bothered to watch." So this is the best episode that no one bothered to watch. Comment that if you get this far, and you guys will rock. Thank you so much. I'll see you for the tour. Until we speak again, please look after yourselves. Take care. Bye bye.